Hello, I am Kelsey Addy with CARES of New York, Incorporated. Today I will provide a brief overview of the new project application funding opportunities. This webinar was developed specifically for agencies that are interested in applying for bonus or reallocation funding being offered in the 2018 NOFA. CARES developed this webinar because CARES believes it is our responsibility as collaborative applicants to inform the COC of additional funding opportunities. Because the NOFA details a variety of important topics, CARES plans to produce a series of webinars to cover specific topics in more detail. Today's presentation provides a summary of the new project application funding opportunities in a brief, succinct format. This presentation will specifically describe what a COC new project is, how much funding is available for new projects, what forms new projects can take, who is eligible to apply, and the process for applying for a new project. Future webinars, including presentations on the domestic violence bonus funding, new opportunities for renewal projects, and a summary of the NOFA as a whole will be made available shortly. So what is a COC new project application? COC project applications fall into two categories. The first is renewal applications, which are applications applied for each year by COC-funded agencies to support their ongoing permanent supportive housing, transitional housing, rapid rehousing, support services, and HMIS projects. The second is new project applications, which are applications to provide additional resources for persons experiencing homelessness in the form of units, beds, support services, or HMIS capacity. New project applications are funded in a couple of ways. The first is through reallocation, and the second is through bonus funding. There's a third option in this year's NOFA, and that's through the domestic violence bonus project funding opportunity. We will discuss reallocation and bonus funding in just a minute. If you're interested in learning more about the DV bonus funding, please see the DV bonus project webinar. New project applications can take a couple of different forms. The first is developing a new project that serves persons who are homeless. The second is expanding upon an existing project. And the third is a transition grant. We will discuss new projects and expansion projects in just a minute. If you are interested in learning more about transition grants, please see the webinar on new opportunities for renewing projects. As noted above, new projects can be funded via reallocation or bonus funding. Bonus funding is funding in addition to the amount needed to renew existing COC-funded projects. HUD allows COC to apply for up to 6% of the final pro rata need for new bonus applications. Reallocation funding is the amount of funding current COC-funded agencies return to the COC in order to free up funding for new project applications. So, the amount of funding depends on current COC-funded projects for reallocation. Listed here, you will see the amount of bonus funding available per COC. You will also see the amount of DV bonus funding per COC, which is a separate bonus funding opportunity and is discussed more thoroughly in the DV bonus webinar. As a reminder, funding available for new applications will surpass the bonus amount listed here if COC-funded projects decide to return money to the COC through reallocation in order to make more funding available for new projects. I want to take a minute to delve a little bit deeper into the reallocation process because this is a very important process for COCs to both understand and utilize. As mentioned, reallocation is a process by which COC-funded agencies return a portion of their renewal project funding. That agency or any other agency can apply to utilize the returned funding to create a new project or expand on an existing project. COCs and agencies opt to reallocate funding when the project is regularly returning money to HUD that could be otherwise utilized in the community by another project, or when the project is underperforming or is not meeting a current community need. HUD recommends every COC assess the needs in their community and performance of COC-funded projects and reallocate funding accordingly. So, who is eligible to apply for new project applications? Any agency or local governmental entity who meets threshold requirements outlined in the NOFA are eligible to apply for COC bonus or reallocation funding. To be clear, you do not have to currently have COC funding in order to apply. There are 5 types of eligible new projects allowed in this year's NOFA. Eligible projects for bonus and/or reallocation funding include permanent supportive housing that is dedicated plus or has 100% of beds dedicated to persons experiencing chronic homelessness. As a reminder, if your COC can show there are currently no persons experiencing chronic homelessness in the community, as evidenced through the coordinated entry waitlist, beds dedicated to those who are chronically homeless can be opened up to other homeless populations. Before moving on to the other eligible components, I'm going to quickly review what a Dedicated Plus project is. A Dedicated Plus project targets people who either are chronically homeless or who were chronically homeless prior to entering a transitional housing program that is now closing, or prior to entering a transitional housing portion of a transitional housing rapid rehousing program. Dedicated Plus projects can also target persons who are homeless for at least 12 months over 3 years, although this does not have to be on a specific number of occasions, unlike the definition of chronic homelessness, which mandates that the person has to have been homeless on at least 4 separate occasions over this time period. The head of household must also have a disabling condition. Dedicated Plus can also target those receiving VA assistance and who have met one of the criteria that we've just discussed. Another eligible component is rapid rehousing, which connects persons experiencing homelessness to permanent housing in the community through rental assistance and/or a tailored package of support services. Another eligible project is Joint Transitional Housing Rapid Rehousing, which combines these 2 different types of housing into a single project. Another eligible project is expanding the Homeless Management Information System, as well as a support service only project dedicated to the coordinated entry system. All new projects must meet a specific quality threshold before HUD will consider the project for funding. Specifically, project applicants must have satisfactory capacity, drawdowns, and performance for existing grants that are funded under the COC program. In terms of expansion projects, these projects must articulate the part of the project being expanded and demonstrate that they are not supplanting other funding sources. Project applicants must also demonstrate that they will be able to meet all timeliness requirements. So, how does HUD determine funding for new application projects nationwide? Well, the NOFA does not clearly outline the process by which HUD selects new projects for funding. However, we do know how HUD decides on funding for Tier 2 projects, and all new projects are placed into Tier 2 in order to ensure an existing project that currently houses people is not supplanted by a new project. Tier 2 projects are scored on a 100-point scale. 50 points are based on the COC score as a whole, 40 points are based on where the project falls within the ranking, and 10 points are based on the project's commitment to housing first. As previously mentioned, new project applications can be new projects that fall within the eligibility requirements previously described. They can also be expansion projects, which we are going to discuss now. Expansion projects are new projects submitted to expand current operations of an existing project by adding units, beds, persons served, services provided to program participants, or HMAS capacity. Expansion projects can expand upon either COC or non-COC funded projects that serve persons who are homeless. Agencies apply for expansion projects utilizing available bonus and/or reallocation funding. Expansion projects can only expand under the eligible activities allowed through reallocation and bonus funding, which we've already discussed. In addition, expansion projects cannot supplant funding from another funder, and this must be demonstrated in the application. What is the process for applying for an expansion project? Expansion projects must apply through the rank and review process, specifically by filling out a new project application. In addition, projects must apply as a new project in eSNAPs. If the project is expanding upon an existing COC-funded project, the agency must also submit the renewal grant application through eSNAPs per usual. In terms of a process and timeline for submitting new project applications must be submitted both through the rank and review process and through eSNAPs. Check your local COC rank and review process to determine when new project applications are due to the rank and review committee and what they entail. The rank and review process and application for new projects is listed under your respective COC site on the CARES website, which is caresny.org. All projects must be submitted in eSNAPs on or before August 15th in addition. That is a description of new project application opportunities in a nutshell. Additional webinars will be posted shortly and will cover the new HUD priorities and the consolidated application, the new DV bonus funding opportunities, new opportunities for renewing projects, and finally eSNAPs training for new and returning users. Thank you for listening in.